Hey everyone, What If Fan here, bringing you another exciting part of What If Becoming a Mangaka in One Piece World. You can find the fanfic title and the original author's name on my Patreon page. Make sure to check it out and show them some love. If you enjoy the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you never miss an upload. Quick update. The series What If Ichigo awoke his true powers to save his mother will be going on hold soon, since we've nearly caught up with the author. So now, I need your help picking the next project for the channel. I'm currently deciding between these three fanfics. What if Transmigrated into a nightmare mode Dragon Ball world? What if Reborn in Highschool DxD as a Lucifuge? What if Fishing System in Food Wars world? Please vote in the poll and let me know which story you'd like to see next. I'll take the top pick and start working on that series next. Also check out my Patreon channel for early releases of all the series, where you can find all the series released one day ahead of YouTube. Alright, let's jump into it. Chapter 411, Brook Promise. One Piece Events. Laboon. Did you still remember us? Brook thought. The fight between Brook and Ryuma's corpse continues as a fierce battle between two strong fighters, as their moves were almost identical. When I think of how you must feel, it's heart-wrenching. Though I don't have a heart now. Ya ho ho ho. The Grand Line is so impregnable, despite all my strength. As Brook thinks about this, he laughs, ya ho ho ho. At this stage, Ryuma's corpse starts to press Brook to his back foot due to the huge gap in raw power between them. Our nakama have all passed away. Ku. Ha! In addition to losing our nakama, I've lost my face, my body, I've lost it all. Even if we met again, you wouldn't even know who I was in this skeletal form. Wah! Stop. Leave the afro alone. Ryuma's corpse laughs in response to that, yo-ho-ho. I don't have anything left but they all said this head of mine made you laugh. I'll protect this look to the end. Because I'm coming to see you. I hope you're waiting at our promised cape. Fishman Island. You. This is too much, you. Little Frankie cried intensely just like his future self in the manga when he heard about Laboon's story from the crew members. This time he cried because of the moving words Brook directed towards Laboon in his thoughts, believing that they would never reach anyone. But unexpectedly and in an unorthodox way, these words were able to reach every person in the world and shook the feelings of the tough and gentle, small and big. Not only was the emotional boy Frankie crying at this moment, but even his teacher Tom and his classmate Iceberg were deeply affected as well. This skeleton lost everything already except for his pure-souled. Tom smiled while wiping away some of the tears he couldn't control. There are still people like these amazing humans in the world, but it seems that most of them only suffer because they are amazing people. Iceberg was right, in the pirate world everyone suffers, but the people with good hearts suffer more than the others. Tom and Iceberg sighed while watching Frankie, who couldn't control his emotions at this moment. Damn it, I love that bone guy and that big whale. In some way, he becomes more and more like his future self, right, teacher? Iceberg pointed to little Frankie there and Big Frankie in the manga, who both said the same line approximately and were surprised. Ta ha ha ha. This becomes more entertaining. Inside the Fishman art store, a gentle smile appeared on Susan's face. The main store goddess here. What a great story between a group of good humans and a whale. Susan knew about Laboon, she had read the arc belonging to it after everything, and she had gone to Ohara more than once, and anyone who goes to Ohara can see the cheerful whale and hear its pleasant sound from time to time. It became a symbol for Ohara besides the Tree of Knowledge. Fufufu, it seems that all the crew members have already agreed to have Brook as a new member of their crew. Since they accept even the undead, then will there come a day when they accept a member from our Fishman race in their ship? Despite her saying that jokingly, she looked seriously at her daughter Shirley, who upon hearing her mother's words shook her head about the manga. Her eyes fell on a specific blue-skinned fishman among the Fishman Street group. Seriously? Susan felt curious and followed her daughter's gaze. After being dismissed from the Fleet Admiral's office, Assistant Admiral Zephyr returned to his office and laughed at everything that had happened so far because of Garp and Sengoku. The Assistant Admiral is a new position created specifically for Zephyr, who remains powerful like an admiral even after Kuzan took his official position as admiral. The Assistant Admiral represents a fourth seat for the Admiral. He has all the privileges of the other three admirals but with the condition of becoming a special assistant to the three admirals. After being offered this position, Zephyr did not refuse, but agreed with a willing heart. After all, he is still a high power in the Navy. Although he is an admiral, in the last 10 years as an admiral, he has obtained the position of coach in addition to his position as admiral. As a coach, he was the person who trained the current three admirals and was proud of it, so his new position as assistant admiral does not differ from his previous role. Zephyr sat in his office chair and opened the manga folder to continue where he had stopped. An ancient giant, interesting. Oh, Brook has a relationship like this with Laboon? This is unexpected. Even Zephyr was deeply affected by the story of Laboon and Brook. For Zephyr, Brook was a cursed man with bad luck. What do you think, Tsuru-chan? Inside the Fleet Admiral's office, after a long conversation with Tsuru, Sengoku asked her calmly. If the world government was truly designed to exterminate Ohara before the era of manga, would you truly execute the orders, Sengoku? You always answer my questions with other questions. Well, I will answer first. If there were no manga in this world, I would execute the orders of the five elders with obedience, and I would bury my feelings of compassion in the deepest well in my heart. That's what I would do, but with the arrival of the manga era, my thoughts completely changed. I would fiercely oppose the harsh decision of the five elders. Tsuru nodded her head gently. This was the Sengoku she knew, the same person who had always been a fair and honest man who chased after the ruthless pirates and protected the innocent citizens with the light of a Bodhi. At a stage before the manga era, it seemed like that Sengoku was hiding a bad habit after becoming an admiral, a sharp knife in the hands of the five elders and the celestial dragons. But with the arrival of the manga era, that old Sengoku began to return to his senses. Then answer me truthfully. Garp is a trustworthy man, and this will never change. I believe Garp will remain in the Navy no matter what happens. Chapter 412, The Eyes of Mangaka. Egghead Island. Only 10 kilometers away from Ohara Island, a new island appeared not long ago, but the strange thing is that despite the proximity of this new island to Ohara, no one was able to notice it. This is because it is completely hidden from the public eye by the art store barrier that changes its color to match the color of the sky and sea, a simple function for hiding on a wide scale. Here, there is a research laboratory for a mad scientist that has separated from the world government and disappeared from their site, Vegapunk. Places that are safest from the hands of the world government are near the other pole, the home of the leader of the Hunters Guild. For this reason, Rob moved his entire island here, which caused Vegapunk to be shocked for several days. At this moment, Vegapunk was in the Ohara art store while two clones of him were in his laboratory. They are Shaka and Lilith, which were completed some time ago. Of course, there are hundreds of loyal subjects of Vegapunk who help him build his future island. After he decided to secede from the world government, he expelled all the loyalists to the world government from them, but there are still many who decided to stay with him and help him because of the kindness they have with him. After Rob's level of title went from beginner Mangaka to average Mangaka, he was able to sense things and elements that he had never felt before. For example, threads of fate, remnants of time, and elements of the mysterious plot. His eyes can now see many mysterious auras, each with its own meaning. For example, the strongest auras that he can sense in Ohara are those of Brook and Robin, who represent elements of very dense plots. As the main characters of the story. He can also sense strong threads of fate woven around Vegapunk, Sol, Doflamingo, Toki, and also Stussy, for some reason. And because of this, Rob's expression became cold. The threads of fate woven around Doflamingo, Sol, and Toki also seem to be on the brink of breaking for some reason. While the threads of fate around Vegapunk became denser. New threads of fate appeared around Professor Clover after he didn't have any threads of fate from the beginning. He was on his way to becoming like Vegapunk. The difference between them is that while the density of the threads of fate around Vegapunk is like a light bulb, Clover is like a soft glow. Rob took his gaze away from Stussie's aura and looked at the auras of ordinary people with Mangaka eyes, but he only saw white auras with no connection to any plot. Rob found his aura black, like ink, as a black hole in space. He knew he was a mangaka, completely disconnected from the world of manga, as if he was the only real existence in a fantasy world. Rob shook his head and looked towards Egghead Island, where he could feel stronger fate threads than those of Vegapunk. He disappeared from his place in a moment and appeared in front of a half-destroyed giant robot, in fact, an ancient war machine. Rob quietly examined the fate threads surrounding this ancient war machine and realized that he could calculate the true plot around anything that had fate threads on it, just as he had previously done with Stussy Aura. For example, the giant robot in front of him is the legendary Iron Giant programmed to attack Marigoa for the purpose of destroying the mysterious energy source hidden in Marigoa. The main and only responsible in the current era for providing energy to the spaceship Uranus so that it can work again. So your programmed job is to disable the recovery of an ancient weapon, correct? With one glance, Rob understood the complete purpose of this Iron Giant and the reason behind its creation. Ding! Suddenly, Rob received a notification from the system shop, which means a new chapter of the original One Piece manga had been released. Interesting, after counting the number of chapters that have been released since my arrival in this world, this means that only 1 year has passed on Earth, while I am approaching the end of my 4th year here. Rob noticed this time difference for a long time already, due to the system shop. Rob bought the new chapter magazine and jumped to read it on the broken horn of the Iron Giant. He was going to start reading the new chapter, despite being able to infer a lot of facts using his title abilities, but connecting everything in a story that can be understood is extremely difficult even for someone with a photographic memory like him. The best way to easily discover the background of the world is still read the manga One Piece. Also, reading it again is enjoyable. Hee. The reason for the delay of this chapter must be the end-of-year holiday on Earth, right? Rob opened the new chapter after remembering the events of the previous chapters in the new arc. The weight of memories, huh? From the continuous cover stories, Rob knew a lot about MADS and why and under what circumstances they met. All of this became easy to infer from the cover stories. But none of this was more important than the chapter itself. Even if the world denies its nature, it is human in terms of rights and truth. The experiment succeeded. I firmly believe that this achievement represents an important step towards global peace. Dr. Vegapunk, head of the MADS Research Lab for Peace. In any case, is Vegapunk talking about her? Oh, Bonnie's ability is truly amazing, that's why she's called the jewelry, right? Alright, it seems Kuma has already inherited the what you programmed on it, Iron Giant. Seeing Kuma climbing the red line like the Iron Giant to destroy the energy source made Rob feel sorry for the good man in the manga. Oh. Are these Kuma's memories? This is becoming more complicated thing by thing. It seems Bonnie is on her way to find out everything before Kuma's death fully in his final raid that I don't know if it will succeed or fail. Wow, a devil fruit ability that can make wonders. Thinking about the extent of Kuma's devil fruit's oddness, Rob felt the desire to eat this fruit, but he remembered that Kuma had already eaten it since he was a child and cancelled this thought. I didn't believe Nikyu fruit could work like this, interesting. Kuma who was in the flashback looked similar to the current Kuma, the king of the Sorbet Kingdom almost. These seraphims are interesting, they can even think and make decisions by themselves, they look like clones of real humans instead of just robots. Seeing the seraphims reminded Rob of their original selves, where they look similar to them a lot in their current ages. Coded looks like the real clone human has finally taken a step, the person Vegapunk asked for help is you. Stussy. /code. The Rocks Pirates, Miss Buckingham Stussy, a cloned woman, huh? So, I was the fool all this time, I brought a copied human into my pink room, and even fuck her. Damn it. Rob tried to control his nerves but he couldn't. Thinking that her true identity was just a member of the world government, he was wrong all the time, because her true identity was much deeper than that. She was actually a copy of Edward Weevil's mother, Buckin. The people responsible for replication her were Dr. Vegapunk, Caesar Clown, Vinsmoke Judge, Queen, and Buckingham Stussy herself was the 5th member with them. Rob felt like he was the fool all this time. In New World, on an unknown island. Inside a lonely house, away from a small village next to a river that runs through the forest and spring meadows. Buckingham Stussy, 52 years old, felt a cold shiver for some reason. At the age of 50, she still resembled a younger version of her copy, Stussy, who joined the art store instead of her short and old-looking form at the age of 72 in the future. If Rob sees her, he will assume that she is Stussy's older sister, but in reality, she is the same person. Weevil. Where are you? What are you doing? After feeling a cold shiver without knowing the reason, the first concern that came to her mind was to search for her 12-year-old son and ensure his safety. So, she opened the door and ran to look for him. After all, this child was the fruit of her love and the only link she had with her lover, Whitebeard, Edward Newgate. Chapter 413, Rob's impression of Chapter 1073 of One Piece. When Rob finished reading Chapter 1072 and was ready to return to Ohara before the end of the day, a notification for a new chapter update appeared, which surprised Rob. What? Did 2 chapters come out in one day? This can't be true. Despite his confusion, Rob immediately bought the new chapter because he wasn't used to 2 chapters coming out on the same day. Maybe the God Network is messing with him? Rob opened the new chapter with enthusiasm, quickly catching up on everything and entering the excited reading mode. Miss Buckingham Stussy again? The new chapter continued where the previous chapter left off, with Stussy defeating Rob Lucci with deception. Could her devil fruit be from the mythical devil fruit model? Succubus, or something like that? Despite looking like a bloodthirsty criminal to me, she's truly skilled in performing the 6 physical arts. Strange. It looks like things are rapidly approaching the end. At this point, it's becoming difficult to predict what exactly will happen in the story, and that's exciting. These seraphim are truly amazing. Since cloning technology has already matured in Vegapunk's hand, why not propose to him to create these seraphim by legendary hunters as templates? Rob felt interested in this experiment. He knew that Vegapunk had stored a lot of special genes from many races in this world, especially the Lunarian race from Albor. Oh, this is Sphinx Island, the Whitebeard's hometown? If Newgate sees this scene, he will definitely be angry. The Navy truly values the authenticity of their actions whether in the past or the future. Then this old lady is the real Stussy. For the first time since his arrival in this world, Rob felt that he was being deceived by Oda. I will ask Newgate about this matter. Rob pressed his desire to kick Stussy out of the art store immediately and continued reading the manga. Anyway, he won't be a narrow-minded person. Until he is sure of the whole story, he will not act according to his emotions. When he saw the last page of the chapter, Rob's eyes widened in disbelief. It took 1073 chapters for you guys to finally make a move, huh, comrades? Although in reality, the Gorosei and even the lords above them took a step against him, this did not happen in the original manga until now. The face of the old man with the hat and cane reflected in Rob's eyes. As I expected. Being the 5 stars, they have the names of the 5 nearby celestial orbs to Earth. Strange. Saint Jagartha Saturn, is that your name, huh? Rob felt that Saint Saturn was taking a step for Luffy and not for Vegapunk. In terms of power, he knew that this old man had a raw power that could be compared to a Yonko in his prime, which is already considered the world's peak except for Rob and Emu who were beasts above the level of the Yonko. This means that he will either capture or kill Luffy. After all, it is not strange that they know Luffy's identity at this stage. They knew the secret of the Gomu Gomu fruit that Shanks stole at that time, so it is not difficult for them to know who ate it at this stage, especially after seeing Luffy's wanted poster. This arc will be a decisive and exceptional one for Luffy and his crew. Rob closed the Shonen Jump magazine and threw it in his inventory before finally choosing to leave. This iron giant sitting on it will not move again, as Rob noticed that it was just an empty shell. Perhaps scientists from past generations in Vegapunk removed what was moving it already. Sigh. With a light sneeze, Rob disappeared from his spot and returned to Ohara. Of course, in order to keep some secrets from curious eyes, he had previously found all the surveillance cameras around him and covered them in light-blocking fruit using his special barrier fruit in order to hide the fact that he had arrived there. Rob was not foolish, he knew that there were real surveillance cameras everywhere on Egghead, not just video den mushy, but real cameras. After returning to Ohara, Rob adjusted his mood back to normal and went to the art store. The day was already about to end. And thus, the night out with the Thriller Bark volume would also end, but Rob would not allow this great arc to end without a party. The most important element at parties is music, after all. One Piece events. Yeah, but that old man with the big wound said that if we defeat Gecko Moria, we'll all get our shadows back. All the crew members were surprised when they saw Luffy thinking in such a rare moment, Frankie Zoro Chopper Sanji. He did say that. Touché. Luffy continued, and Moria's just up those stairs, right? Usopp replied, whoa. You're right. Luffy decided on the next course of action, yeah, so I'm gonna go kick Moria's butt. And we'll all get our shadows back. Sanji, you go save Nami. Sanji's anger ignited upon hearing the words he had been waiting for from his captain. Heck yeah. I'll kick his invisible butt to the other side of this fog. You're not getting married today. At this moment, Usopp spoke up to add fuel to the fire. I forgot to say this, but that invisible guy took a long look at Nami while she was taking a shower. Upon hearing this, Sanji turned into a furiously angry devil. WHAAT. BFT. Ha ha ha. Sora placed her hand gently on her mouth trying to suppress her laughter, but in the end, she was defeated by Sanji's comical stance. This young man is very angry. I like it, I hope to see you kill that invisible giant. Belmere commented with obvious anger on her face. It was clear that she had been suppressing her anger since Absalom tried to kidnap Nami for a forced marriage with her. Ha ha ha. It's very surprising to see Luffy thinking correctly. I believe he is eager to defeat another Shichibukai. Toki said as she flipped through the manga pages. Where is Rob? Didn't he return from Zou? This is strange. Alvia appeared worried. After all, Rob left a week ago but hasn't returned yet. After hearing that, both Belmere and Sora turned red. Only Otoheim and Glora noticed. Oh, did you miss me too much, my sweetheart? Alvia felt a shiver in her spine when she felt warm arms embrace her from behind. Chapter 414, Who is a Doctor? Thriller Bark Island. Kishishishishi. Moria placed his hand on his forehead and laughed as if there was no tomorrow. Of course, he was laughing at the foolish counterattack plan of the Straw Hat crew after they lost the first round. Do you think it's easy to kick my butt, Straw Hat? Kishishishi. Without hockey? With your weak physical strength? Come on then. Or do you think that because you defeated the weakest Shichibukai, that crocodile, that means it will be easy for you to defeat me, too? Fool, fool, fool. Just like you presented in the One Piece story. Despite you being the protagonist of the story, you are still very foolish, Kishishishishi. Inside the art store, Moria continued his insane laughter while reading the manga. He saw the Straw Hat crew starting their counterattack, while the insane version of himself is carefree without any consideration of the risks that made Moria feel something wrong. Yes, he felt nervous, something was just wrong. He wasn't worried about what will happen in the manga now since he had already defeated and overpowered Luffy once. It doesn't matter if he loses or wins again. He will make sure that Luffy and others don't have any chance of defeating him again in reality. This manga is really great. It shows us all our mistakes and failed plans so we can fix them. Kishishishishi. West Blue, Ballywood Kingdom. One Piece events. After the bridge leading to the mansion was destroyed by the ancient giant oars, Sanji and Usopp fell and were separated from Luffy, Chopper, and Robin, who continued to run towards Moria's location. They soon arrived at the dance hall where they encountered Dr. Hogback and his servant, the zombie Sindri-chan. Ah. You whoa. Yo you. Didn't Perona take care of you? Chopper immediately became angry upon seeing this scene. Hogback was surprised to see the angry reindeer without any reason. What's with this reindeer? Robin was also surprised to see him as it was clear that she knew something about him. So that's Dr. Hogback. Luffy began moving his hand in circles, preparing to hit Hogback. He's the guy that was with Moria. Should we kick his butt too? Hogback panicked upon seeing this. Wah! Wait! Chopper spoke up, having finally made a decision. Wait, Luffy. Could you leave this guy to me? There's a door over there, right? That's the freezer. You go ahead. Yash got it. Luffy was more than happy to leave it to Chopper to take care of. Chopper returned to his normal form before shouting out his hopeless anger towards the doctor who he had idolized only until today. Hogback. I am disappointed in you. You're no longer a doctor in my eyes. Chopper's words did not affect Hogback's mood, who only laughed. Oh. Fosh. I didn't recognize you, Dr. Chopper, so you were a Zoan-type fruit user. I thought you were an odd creature. I don't know what you did to escape your transport in Perona's garden, but now that we've met here, don't think you'll get away. I'll have your shadow. At this moment, the zombies of Zoro and Sanji arrived. No. Perhaps. If instead, I kill you. And fashion you into a marionette? And you can join these guys. Koreha and Hiraluk were annoyed while reading this passage of manga, as they glared at Hogback with cold eyes. Hoi! Greetings to you, I didn't say that, it's my own manga version that said that. Hogback noticed the annoyance of Koreha and Hiraluk and sat next to them. It seems that my little one is disappointed and hopeless in you. Have you now seen the extent of the impact of your future actions on good doctors? Hiraluk clicked his tongue before saying anything with disappointment. Yes, my future self has taken the wrong path completely, and it's very clear, I will never take such a path again. Really? At this moment, Koreha, who had been silent for some time, spoke. Of course. Didn't I already make the decision to join you guys, my comrades? Hogback was agitated due to the change in the attitude of these large shots. Hadn't they been good with him just a few minutes ago? It's not that we don't trust you, but your face was designed to look evil. Well, I also had a witch's face before, so I won't blame you for something that's not in your control. Hogback. Yes, Koreha-sama. Hogback replied obediently. Regardless of what happens with this arc, I've seen with my own eyes how disappointed Chopper is to have an evil doctor as his idol. From now on, make sure to take a different path completely so that the public's perception of you changes. Hearing what Koreha said, Hogback responded fiercely, Understood. Understood. I'll definitely do that. North Blue, Flevance Island. After laughing happily and playing a little with the baby in the womb, Mary and her husband returned to reading manga with great focus. It looks like Dr. Chopper is disappointed by this man. I'm also disappointed by him. He's not as well known yet in the manga, but who knows, he may become what he is now after gaining fame. Mary and Chris, the couple, freely discussed their thoughts about the story of Hogback. This has nothing to do with fame or variations. The real doctor should remain dedicated to the values of a doctor. Who is the doctor? He is the person who saves lives. Chris was also angry and disappointed. He could feel and empathize with Chopper's situation, feeling as if he had been betrayed. While this villain called Hogback is killing people and creatures, and stitching their corpses together to make lifeless corpses for Moria to make an army of zombies. Mary, do you see that? All these 900 zombies, every single one of them were once thousands of living creatures, and now they are just dead corpses. Does this mean that future Hogback will kill many people? Mary shuddered after realizing the situation finally. He is just a gruesome killer. Chapter 415, I'm already negative. One Piece events. The bridge to Perona's room. What's with that size? Is he the devil? I've never seen a giant like this before. Frankie opened and closed his mouth in shock. Is this a zombie? The same thing for Zoro and Sanji. They were shocked by the giant zombie that relied on Luffy's shadow to move. This is Luffy. For Usopp, he was more afraid than shocked, because it was not the first time he saw Oars. It's over. It's the end. He's come to kill us. Jaya awaha. Yuwa. What are you doing? Oars grabbed the roof of the building and put it on his head, remembering Roger, who also wore a hat. Ooh. This is good. Yosh. I'm in a good mood now. I'm gonna become the rotten pirate king. Ma, when that thing broke it surprised me. Wahahaha. Roger laughed hard at the comedic scene. Beside him, Rouge lost her grip on her jaw and also laughed at the scene. BFT, ha 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 ha. The captain's face in the manga again. Ha 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 ha. Captain. This ancient giant wants to wear a hat as a symbol of being a pirate king, ha ha ha. Shanks laughed as he held his stomach. The previous scene was extremely funny. On the side, Buggy was also laughing as if there was no tomorrow. The scene reminded them of Croca's first appearance in the manga, which Sanji and Usopp described as a strange flower. West Blue, Dolta Island. Dolta Island is considered a medium-sized island with a cold climate. In the past, the island was not under the jurisdiction of the world government because its inhabitants did not have enough money to pay the celestial taxes to the celestial dragons. Because of this, anarchy was rampant on the island, whether it be pirates or mafia guys. The inhabitants of this island never lived a day in peace. This was before Rob came to the island and opened an art store. Just like Ilka Island and many other islands, the environment here has changed since the art store appeared. What does an art store mean on an island? This means that the island has become a safe area under the Hunters Guild. And who would dare to act recklessly on the guild's lands? Of course, no one. This island, which was not mentioned in the original story, was only special for one reason. Because it is the island where one of the four mysterious of Thriller Bark pirates was born. Absalom's hometown. Inside the Dolta art store sat a little boy with blonde hair and sharp eyes, appearing to be 11 years old, alone in the store tavern. This kid was none other than Absalom himself. The only one who realizes this reality is himself. And the reason, of course, is that his name and devil fruit match with Absalom in the manga, only his monster face does not match. Come on. Come on. When will I show up again? Despite not understanding the reason for his appearance in this form or why he joined Gecko Moria, he didn't think about all of these things. All he cared about now was getting to know his character in the manga well and enjoying the events. After all, he was still a kid. East Blue, Syrup Town. BFT. Without warning, Yasopp suddenly and recklessly tossed his drink all over Beckman's face, drenching him. Beckman, who had been engrossed in the manga with wide eyes and an expression of shock on his face, was equally taken aback. They were not alone in their surprise, as everyone in the art store was caught off guard. The sound of a woman's laughter startled them and brought them back to reality. Ha 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 ha. This kid never fails to surprise me, the woman laughed. Banshina couldn't help but shake her head, a smile creeping onto her face despite the chaotic scene. As Beckman had stated, Usopp was truly a hopeless case. Hora 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 horo. It seems that you're already familiar with how terrible these ghosts can be. I'm a spirit woman capable of calling spirits forth freely. These ghosts are part of me. They hollow out a person's spirit. Hora hora horo, this is where it ends for all of you. Perona cast her ghosts onto Sanji, Usopp, Zoro, and Frankie. Usopp, it's over. Everything. Frankie, that's it. I want to be treated like a stray dog. Sanji, my existence is even lower than a dead fish. I want to die. Zoro, I'm sorry that I've been treading upon the same earth as everyone else. After seeing this, Perona gestured for the zombies to capture them. But to her surprise, Usopp stood in front of the zombies and purified all of them that came close. I won't let you lay a hand on my crew. Perona, damn. Did he not get hit? Negative hollow. Even after the negative ghost passed through his body, Usopp stood up and spoke. My name is Captain Usopp. Perona, why? Why aren't you on your knees? The ghost touched you. What did you do? I didn't do anything. Usopp continued and shouted with determined eyes, I'm already negative. After hearing this, Perona's round eyes widened in an absolute shock that she had never experienced in her life. Ha 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 ha. My belly aches so much, I think I might die from laughter. Ya ha 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 ha. Oh my goodness, I haven't laughed this hard in my entire life. Ha ha ha. Did he really just call himself negative? Ha 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 ha. This is so amusing. Ha 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 ha. It's legendary. This scene is truly legendary. Ha 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 ha. Oh my goodness. My stomach is hurting from laughing so much. Just look at the expression on Perona's face, it's priceless. The art store in the small town of Syrup was filled with a contagious fit of laughter that couldn't be contained. No one could have predicted such a legendary scene would unfold. Out of nowhere, the never-ending fit of laughter began, not only in the art store located in Syrup but also in all the art stores spread throughout the world. Everyone was caught up in the moment, and couldn't stop laughing. Chapter 416, A Phony Wedding. West Blue, O'Hara. After a moment of laughter due to the legendary scene of Usopp and Perona, the situation returns to calm once again but quickly changes again. After the moment of laughter, the turn is for a moment of anger. A wave of intense anger that has no match. One Piece events. Within Thriller Bark, Church. Does this groom, Absalom, swear to love this bride, Nami, in times of sickness and in health until death do you part? The zombie priest repeated the sentence given to him calmly. Ah. I do. As soon as Absalom declared his acceptance, the zombie crowd cheered, Yulu. The zombie priest returned to the sentence again. Well then, does this bride Nami swear to love this groom Absalom until death do you part? Immediately, a zombie made Nami, who was currently unconscious, seem as if she was speaking, but in reality, the zombie was the one speaking. Yes. I swear. I love Abu-sama, love. The zombie crowd cheered again, UWOOH. As the zombie priest finally gave Absalom the green light, then, you may kiss the bride. Absalom, Absalom turned his beastly face to try to truly kiss her. This. One reader's face turned gray upon witnessing the latest scene in the chapter. This really turned into a wedding scene. Damn you, Absalom. May someone kill him. Outbursts were seen on another reader's forehead. Impossible. This wedding can't be completed properly. It's obvious she has lost consciousness. Sanji. Where are you? There's a monster guy trying to kiss Nami-swan. Another reader shouted in objection. If I had eyes, they would explode from the beastliness of the scene. Oh, I forgot, I already have eyes inside the art store, yo-ho-ho-ho. You shut up. The situation is serious. No need for sarcasm. Oh, why do I feel the temperature has suddenly risen? Has summer already started? Dr. Vegapunk suddenly became absorbed in the sudden rise in temperature. He was not the only one to feel the sudden increase in temperature inside the art store, where the temperature is usually very stable regardless of the weather outside. Calm down, Bella, it's just a scene in the manga as you know. The store doesn't stop us, the maids, from using our powers. But this doesn't mean we should go far away. You have already caused the temperature inside the art store to rising. Glora said. Look, that person is taking off his clothes due to the intense sweating. Toki pointed to a person who could no longer bear the hot weather and took off his shirt to cool down from sweating. At that moment, while carrying the manga, a flashing yellow light danced around Belmir's body. That flashing yellow light alone caused the temperature inside the art store to rise sharply. This bastard. I will kill him. The wedding scene was too much for Belmir, that was the most she could bear. Seeing her dear daughter is forced to marry this brute with a beastly face, to the point that he calls her his bride. He made her wear a wedding dress and staged a fake wedding. Now, he even trying to kiss her. Here, Belmir's angry mood explodes, which was intensified after eating the devil's fruit, a mythical Zoan-type, model, golden crow. Okay, calm down, Bella-chan. At this moment, Alvia put her hand on Belmir's shoulder and slid a cool energy through the yellow flame, reducing its high temperature significantly. Well, you have a heavy Rob smell on you, it looks like he's already back without telling me. After approaching her enough, Alvia was able to smell her husband's familiar scent from Belmere, knowing that she hadn't seen her husband for a week. For some reason, this time the temperature inside the art store dropped dramatically. In a few seconds, the customers experienced the peak of summer and then the peak of winter. West Blue, Dolta Island. Suddenly, little Absalom woke up with a premonition of danger, as if he sensed an imminent threat. At this moment, he was reading a scene in which he embraces Nami with a blushing face. He closed his eyes and saw the scene through his eyelashes while cursing those who cursed him in his heart. Yes, indeed, everyone in the art store around him was cursing him intensely. Or to be more accurate, they were cursing the Absalom in the manga. But for little Absalom, it was the same person. So if someone cursed the monster-faced Absalom, it also meant they were cursing him. Nami is so beautiful in her wedding dress, what if she became my wife? Little Absalom did not seem to be much different from adult Absalom. Wano country, flower capital. Sight, what a terrible thing. After seeing another loss of Brook at the hands of the zombie Ryuma, Mihawk felt sorry for him. Even though he was a great swordsman in the past, he's still just a corpse after all and not a living person. Well, I won't blame Brook as he's just a skeleton, too. Isn't that right? Isho nodded after hearing this. Mihawk was right after all. Although Ryuma's corpse was already dead, it still moved with the flesh that covers the bones, not to mention holding a powerful sword like Shusui. What about Brook? Despite having strong combat skills, he is still just a skeleton without flesh. It's impossible for him to be very strong. I feel sorry for this scene. A small tear could be seen under Shogun's mask, which surprised Mihawk and Isho. The Shogun is definitely too emotional. Hey! Finally, Zoro arrived. As expected. There will be a great battle between Ryuma's corpse and Zoro. Mihawk was very excited about this fight. Chapter 417, The Angry Sanji. One Piece Events. The invisible beast that appeared on the Thousand Sunny and licked Robinchan, was it you? Exclaimed Sanji in shock. Gah! What's with this strength? This was just an underling. Absalom thought to himself. Sanji fiercely kicked Absalom while he was breathing out blood. And the one who was looking at Nami-san while she was naked in the shower, was it also you? Asked Sanji with anger boiling in his eyes. Why did she faint? It's definitely because you did something dirty, he accused. The responsible Zumbi flinched as he saw his boss being subjected to a violent attack. Sanji continued his outrage inside the church. What was that about marriage? Try saying it to my face. I'll kick you into pieces and make a croquette out of you. Despite being subjected to a violent attack, Absalom quickly became invisible to retreat temporarily. Damn! It's a temporary retreat. Sanji took out what Usopp had given him after seeing the disappearance of the bastard and didn't hit him enough. Usopp's special salt balls. There, ha! Said Sanji as he watched Absalom. Absalom, WHOA. What is this? Salty. Sanji, vo shot. Even when invisible, Absalom was unable to escape from being subjected to the final kick that ended him. Impossible, there is no bounty on that bastard. Absalom had always believed he was fighting someone without a bounty because the Navy had mistakenly drawn Sanji's face. You told me you were irritated. I'm not like that, exclaimed Sanji. My body is about to explode with anger. The fire of anger really did explode around Sanji's body, so much so that even the zombie with cloudy vision was able to see it. It did. After being subjected to a strong attack by Sanji, Absalom's invisible body reappeared to face the consequences. And it's really unfortunate. There is another connection between us. These were Sanji's final words in the chapter. Ha ha! This is so much fun! A person exclaimed, as he watched the events unfold in the chapter. Hit him harder! Ha! Another person cheered, encouraging Sanji. Dead. He's definitely going to die. I've never seen Sanji so angry before. Ha! Another person added, expressing his excitement.
Finally, my dream has come true. Ha ha.
Sanji is getting revenge for everything the invisible perverted has done to Robin-chan and Nami-swan, another person exclaimed, relishing the moment.
Ha ha ha. This is hilarious. Absalom can't escape from Sanji's angry kicks, another person laughed. Ha ha ha.
The reactions of the zombies are killing me, another person chuckled, unable to control their laughter. The readers continued to laugh passionately and expressed their reactions to Sanji's amazing revenge.
Ya ho ho ho. Sanji-san is really angry and he has every right to be. I am also entertained by the sight of this invisible perverted. Brooke said with a hearty laugh. You are the real perverted here. Rosinante pointed out to Brooke, eager to see his response. However, he was surprised to hear a fart sound instead.
Brooke remained silent, his fart sound lingering in the air.
Immediately following, the annoying sound of a rush echoed through the room. Brooke still remained silent, not offering an explanation.
Oh. I am sorry, I am not bowing yet to the meat and blood body.
Rosinante-kun, did you say that I'm the real perverted here? Brooke finally spoke up, seeming to have missed Rosinante's previous remark. Sure, thank you for the compliment, ya ho ho ho. Brooke chuckled, playing along with the joke.
Both Dr. Vegapunk and Professor Clover quickly ran to another table, avoiding the situation, while Rosinante returned to the table of Doflamingo and Enel with a blue face, seemingly embarrassed by the events that had just transpired.
Ha ha. Sora tried to hide her laughter, but in the end, she burst out laughing. Ha ha ha.
The scene in the manga was incredibly funny to her, just like it was for Belmere, who felt a great sense of relief after seeing Absalom getting hit hard.
Looks like you're enjoying it. Good.
I like that, said Rob, pleased to see his wives enjoying the manga.
However, Sora's laughter wasn't just because of the manga.
The scene in the kitchen of the art store bar was just as humorous. Rob was sitting frozen in a chair, with only his head moving.
Alvia and little Robin stood next to him, intently watching him. Weren't you the one having a good time, too? Why didn't you tell me you were back?
Hey!
Alvia's expression appeared angry, but the amusement in her eyes showed that they were just joking around, as they often do. Mommy? What did Daddy draw in the manga that you didn't like? Didn't he draw me as an angel with beautiful wings?
Please let him have his freedom.
He's feeling cold, little Robin added with a serious and cute expression, making everyone in the kitchen laugh.
Stussy chuckled quietly, as she felt uncomfortable with Rob's indifferent gaze toward her. The sight of little Robin's cuteness made everyone in the kitchen laugh, except for the tense Stussy.
Chapter 418, Sanji's Dream Between Reality and Deception.
One Piece readers have always believed in dreams, that's what One Piece manga has taught them. Or to put it another way, that's what One Piece manga has awakened in readers' hearts after they had seen the fun journey of Straw Hats.
What do you mean, dear?
Sora approached Rob with a question. In her mind he was her husband, despite the fact that he had many other wives surrounding him at the moment, but she didn't feel any rejection or resentment towards him. Sitting on the chair, Rob still remained frozen as an icy rock, as he gazed at Sora, who was asking about Sanji repeatedly with curiosity, especially after reading the Sanji's Dream chapter. The fluctuating power of fate reflected in his eyes like a river of mystical power. The fate power seemed magical and warm, carrying the worries of a mother and a flamboyant desire to bring one of the story's protagonists to life, in any way possible. Rob's deep eyes noticed the tangled strands of fate surrounding Sora, tying her to Vinsmoke Judge, who currently exists in the North Blue, as if they wanted to re-establish the connection and allow the birth of one of the story's protagonists in this world once again. The moment that Sora reached Rob's side, something unbelievable happened. Rob could only realize it through the magical mangaka's eyes. The strands of fate have completely cut and have been pulled into the black aura resembling the black hole surrounding Rob. In less than a second, Rob formed new fate strands and connected them with Sora beside him. At this moment, the world's laws had submitted to Rob. The person who will partner with Sora to give birth to Sanji will be Rob and no one else. What I mean is, nothing is impossible as long as dreams exist. With a smile on his face that enchanted all the present women, Rob gave a mysterious answer.
Then, the shackles of ice disappeared as if they never existed and he stood up easily. Alvia was surprised at this. Even the Admiral couldn't break free from the shackles of ice without using all of his physical power, but what did she see? Rob turned her strong ice seal into nothingness. How did you do that?
For some reason, Rob in front of her became more mysterious, as if he was both close and distant, both real and imaginary at the same time, this feeling making her discomfort. Not only Alvia, but Sora, Toki, Otoheim, Belmir, Gloriosa, and Stussy also felt a similar feeling. And what disappeared after that was when Rob laughed.
Ha ha ha. It's just a simple trick, nothing big.
The trick that Rob uses is a simple power to manipulate reality through the mysterious power of creative origin. At this level, he had only discovered a little about this mysterious power and what he could do with some small tricks. Just a moment before, he had done the same thing when he absorbed Sanji's plot line from Judge into his own personal aura. This was the greatest benefit of this divine power, through which he could steal children from others and make them his own. Now, he was confident that he could create Sanji and Reiju with Sora. Not similar characters, but the same original characters. Since this is the world of manga, he has become a semi-creator in this world. With such simplicity, only his power is still relatively low because his title as a mangaka is still intermediate. Perhaps the gods from the Divine Network have given Rob a special title that contains a way to create a god incorrectly, who knows? Regarding Sanji's dream, I don't want to spoil the events for you, but since you are very interested in this boy's background in the manga, I will tell you a few things. First, Sanji's true dream is still to discover the legendary All Blue. Sora and the others nodded, as they already knew that. Rob continued, regarding the suksuk fruit. Sanji has a second dream, to become an invisible man. He has been wishing for it since he was a young child. As you know, it is unlikely for a child of that age to have perverted thoughts, so it must be for another reason. I won't spoil the story for you, as you'll discover that for yourself later on. Sora and the others felt overwhelmed instead of understanding. Why does Sanji want to become invisible? A seed of curiosity started to grow in their hearts. Come on, my little sweetie. Your mothers have plenty of work to do. Let's go search for your sisters and play with Laboon. Rob picked up Robin and exited the kitchen. Yay! My dad is the best. Robin was extremely happy. Fusha Town. One Piece events. Ha! There's a connection between you and me. Absalom was flustered by the nonsense being spoken by the steel-legged thug. With a stern look on his face, Sanji replied, "That's right. You're the man who took away one of my dreams. I know all the things you can do." Absalom was shocked at hearing this. How is this possible? Who are you? Has that man met Absalom-sama before? What kind of relationship is there? The two zombies were also surprised. Sanji continued, "From the big illustrated book of devil's fruits I read when I was young, I wasn't really interested in all the nonsense about ocean curses, but there was one item that caught my heart. If I came across this fruit in my lifetime, even if I was cursed, I wanted to try eating it. But in this world, there's only one of each kind. If I happened to come across the man who had that ability, my dream would be crushed. Do you understand? I wanted it. To at least become the invisible man. That's why you, the one who ate the suksuk fruit, is the one who crushed one of my dreams." Ha 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 ha. Is Sanji really that angry for this reason? Ha 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 ha. Don't tell me, Sanji doesn't already have a dream. I thought he had aspirations of exploring the legendary All Blue. What do you know, men have many dreams, and one of them happens to be Sanji's newfound aspiration. Ha 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 ha. You might be right. I didn't consider that perspective. It's possible that both of you are misinformed. Sanji has already stated that he has multiple dreams, not just one. So, don't assume that he shares the same dream as those foolish zombies and that lion-mouthed brat. At this moment, Zeph, who had been silent throughout, spoke up. What are you trying to say, Captain Zeph? Patty asked in surprise. In the manga, I was the one who raised Sanji since he was a child, but I don't have any knowledge of his background prior to that time. Perhaps he came from a family that was of little worth and made him wish to become invisible, hoping that he wouldn't be hurt anymore. Zeph paused before continuing. After all, he was still a child and hadn't developed any inappropriate thoughts or twisted ideas yet. Maybe it was just casual speculation, but Zeph didn't realize that he had hit the nail on the head with his assumption. Chapter 419, The Re-Emergence of Sogeking. The Paper Bird? Syrup Town. This is bad, he was hit hard. Ben Beckman was speechless at the violent scene playing out in the manga. My son will win. I am sure of it. Next to him, Yasop was reading the chapter with shaking hands. From time to time Yasop would glance at his wife Banshina to see how she was reacting to the scene where Usopp was hit by a young girl. But he was surprised to see her serving drinks to customers with a gentle smile on her face. There was no sign of worry on her face. That damn cunning bear has returned. Damn it. At this stage, Usopp was truly at a dead end. He was going to be defeated. This is what almost all readers imagine. After all, Usopp's eyes turned white from the intensity of the beating, which indicates that he has lost consciousness. It was not easy to escape from the many hollows that could explode themselves. A concrete wall was severely damaged by the explosion of one of them, not to mention Usopp's weak body. Sigh. Beckman sighed and shook his head despite seeing Usopp's weakness as a flaw. Although he always annoyed by Usopp, who shows his cowardly side every time, he still was impressed by Sogeking's brave side. He had always wished to see him put on a mask and fight bravely again. Perona may not be physically affected by any physical attacks since she can fly and enlarge her body to pass through objects, but like all devil fruit users, she must have a certain weakness. Being a professional A-rank hunter who has gone through many tests in the guild, he has learned all that and knew well that every devil fruit has at least one weakness point, without delving into the hockey. If Usopp uses his brain, he may win. Beckman looked at Yasop, who was upset and said quietly. Suddenly, Yasop's eyes widened with disbelief at the following scene in the manga. Is this what's going on? Finally. Great. Yasop shouted happily. In the hinterland mountains of New Onigashima. The pitiful cries of a child echoed through the area. Whoa. Why won't anyone save Usopp? He's suffering so badly. Woo. Little Yamato wept as she watched one of the legendary Straw Hat crew members, Usopp, being fiercely attacked by the ghost princess Perona. You're the only one who can stop her. Defeat her, please. Little Yamato begged with tears streaming down her face. Despite the intense battle, Usopp continues to be relentlessly attacked by the once cute bear, Komashii. I hate him. He's not cute anymore. Woo! Little Yamato cried out in frustration. But suddenly, the tears on her face were replaced by a look of excitement. Whoa, she shouted as she saw the next scene unfold in the manga. As the white bird on her shoulder flapped its wings, it burst into a shower of paper that reformed into a familiar human figure. The reflection of little Yamato's body appeared in Rob's eyes. It's Sogeking. Birdie. Did you see that? It's Sogeking. Yay! She exclaimed with joy as she read the manga, laughing happily. One Piece events. After being subjected to a severe beating from Perona and her zombie bear pet, Usopp began to berate himself for his weakness once again. After all, he was on the brink of defeat. What's this? My crew couldn't even do a thing against that woman's ability. I was the only one that could stand against it. He was still continuously beaten by the fierce bear. I even said this was my chance. I even said that to them. It's over. I can't go on. I no longer feel like I'm gonna win. After I'm beaten, that woman is going to catch Luffy and the others. One brings down the rest. For me to save them. That was a load too heavy for me. Help me. Help me, Sogeking. At a turning point, Usopp was able to counter the attack, and Sogeking appeared, determined on the bear pet's face. He removed his mask and put salt inside his mouth, then purified him.
Please, tell me. What would you do? Sogeking, one down.
The bear pet's body falls to the ground, causing Perona to become extremely angry. Komashii.
Bastard, how dare you do that to Komashii? What's that stupid mask? That's it. I solved it.
Your trick. Ichigo, despite being subjected to a devastating blow and Sogeking's mask falling from his face, Usopp's eyes held a dangerous gleam.
While Perona was flustered, horo. What? You have some final request. Usopp thought to himself, isn't there a place that looks like a room around here? He immediately drew his weapon and pointed it at a room in the corner. Perona, eh? Wait. Where are you aiming at? Usopp laughed, that's it. Hisatsu. Atlas Suisei. Hey. Wait. Usopp detonated the wall of the room, revealing Perona's true body sleeping on the bed. I found it. That's your true body. Did you see that, Birdie? Ha ha ha. Usopp has discovered Perona's true body. I never expected this, Birdie. Where are you?
Little Yamato looked to her right but did not find the small messenger bird, then with concern she looked to her left but there was no one there either.
Birdie, where are you? Could it be that it's gone back to the guild? But you didn't say goodbye.
As Yamato began to feel sad, a man's voice came from behind her.
Oh? Are you looking for this small bird?
Rob was sitting on a small rock while the small messenger bird stood on his shoulder. Little Yamato's eyes widened when she saw someone standing behind her without her noticing. The first thing she noticed was the man's clothes. When she saw that he wasn't wearing Beast's pirate's clothes, she relaxed. But what caught her attention after that was the small bird on the man's shoulder.
Birdie! Come back!
Rob pointed to the small bird to go to Yamato. It seems like you got used to the small messenger bird without knowing its origin, even giving it a name.
This is bad.
As little Yamato hugged the small bird, Rob snapped his fingers and in the next moment, the small bird turned into small paper scraps and disappeared into the air. Yamato was shocked by the sudden scene.
Chapter 420. Little Yamato.
With a disappointed expression and teary eyes, little Yamato touched her two index fingers together and gazed at the place where Birdie had vanished. Are you sad because the little bird has disappeared? Don't worry, I can retrieve it for you, but you need to know that that bird was actually a small clone of me. It wasn't a bird in the literal sense of the word. As soon as he finished speaking, Rob broke into paper shreds and reassembled them to form a small white bird carrying a messenger bag. He flapped his wings and sat on little Yamato's shoulder. He then started to nod his small head at her disappointed face. Little Yamato regained a smile on her face after feeling relieved, but soon vapor and signs of confusion appeared on her head due to excessive thinking and bewilderment. Why did Birdie turn into a big man, and why did the big man turn into Birdie?
This is what little Yamato couldn't understand.
Little girl, there's no need to be disappointed. This bird is the result of my power.
I have always sent you manga volumes through it because I was too busy to come to see you in person.
The bird flapped his wings and turned back into Rob. Because you are very young, you may not understand what I mean correctly, but let me introduce myself first. You may or may not have seen me before. I am Rob, the creator of the One Piece manga you read right now.
It's nice to meet you, Yamato-chan.
Rob approached the level of little Yamato's eyes and gently patted her head. Little Yamato's eyes widened after hearing that name.
You're the author of One Piece?
Yamato looked at the volume in her hand, then at the big man who was towering over her with kindness. She blinked and shuddered. Is the heartless Kaido of that caliber? Why would he leave a young girl in this cold cave without protection? After all, you're not affected by Odin even as a reason. What about your mother? Rob carried the absent-minded girl in his arms. He wasn't asking her these questions, but he was just wondering out loud.
My mother?
When little Yamato heard her father's name, she shuddered in fear, but Rob's warm embrace soon soothed her. But when she heard the word her mother, she tilted her head away.
Sigh. Well. What about Birdie? Asked little Yamato.
Rob looked at the cute little girl with a helpless expression. How could a father bear to leave such a wonderful little girl outside? Rob raised his head, and his eyes pierced the clouds to see the flying island above this island. There was no doubt about it, both Kaido and Shiki were together there. He could feel the nearest art store there after all. Rob had already decided he was going to take this girl under his wing. He wouldn't leave her to an inhuman beast like Kaido. Little girl, Birdie is with me, it's safe. I'll give it to you if you agree to become my adopted daughter. What do you think? The small girl's face lit up with a smile when she heard that she could get the small bird again. But she didn't understand what it meant to become his daughter by adoption. In short, would you like to go with me to a warmer house than this? Rob pointed to the cold cave in front of them. Little Yamato gasped strongly, surprising Rob. It appeared that she already understood her surroundings. Usually, Rob prohibited children under 10 years old from reading manga, and they could only watch anime. But, since this island did not have an art store, Rob made an exception for Yamato since he discovered her existence last year. Birdie was not just a messenger bird assigned to Yamato, but a clone of him with some combat power. Despite Yamato being only a small child of fewer than 3 years old, unable to read or write yet, she was still able to understand and read the manga book provided by the art store. This was a unique feature of the art store, as even animals, not to mention people who haven't learned how to read yet, could comprehend it. Why all this? Well, Rob had made a promise to himself to change the fate of all beloved manga characters, even the evil ones like Hogback. He gave them a chance to change when he realized that he was still a good person. This included amazing characters like Yamato and dramatic background characters that Oda so brilliantly made tragic. However, for mature women who were likely to be someone else's wives in the manga, Rob didn't initially intend to get involved in such a situation. But after he met them in very appropriate circumstances that gave birth to the seed of love, he didn't care about the background created by someone else. He will only pay attention to the background that he created. This is what was required of him and what will be required of him in the future. The smiling face of Rob reflected in Yamato's orange eyes. For some reason she felt familiar warmth from that smile. That's how Birdie smiled. Without realizing it, she hugged his face tenderly. Rob was not disturbed by the small horn that dug into his cheek. Do you understand now that I am the same Birdie you know? Ha ha ha. What about this? Kaido is still your father after all. Before I bring you home I need to take care of him personally. Stay here, I will come back to accompany you later. As he said that, Rob flattened his hand and created a comfortable cushion-like seat made of paper. He put little Yamato on it and returned the manga book to her before leaving. His face was aimed towards the flying island in the sky, where Kaido was. Ah ha 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 ha. Usopp is so bad. Ha 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 ha. Little Yamato laughed. As he walked, Rob smiled upon hearing little Yamato's laughter, which appeared to be a result of her seeing the extent of Usopp's defeat of Perona. It looks like Usopp's reputation with the young girls is going to be even more tarnished after this chapter, huh? Who in the world uses scarecrows to fight against girls? Ha ha. That's the worst crime against them. Oh, speaking of Perona, it looks like she's going to give birth soon. The paper body of Rob began to rise off the ground and calmly float towards the islands in the sky. West Blue, O'Hara. A new tourist ship arrived at the port, and dozens of enthusiastic tourists disembarked from it. Among the tourists, there was a 20-something woman with pink hair and a bulging belly. Without a doubt, she was a pregnant woman. The noticeable things about her were her tight clothing and the purple veins on her body, which meant that she was another victim who had arrived at the paradise on Earth named O'Hara. My little Perona, we have arrived, you can go out into the world now, she said as she lost consciousness on the sidewalk. Quickly, an ambulance arrived and took the woman to the nearest hospital. That wraps up this part of What If Becoming a Mangaka in One Piece World. Thanks so much for listening. As always, new parts drop every 4 days, so be sure to stay tuned. Quick reminder. The series What If Ichigo awoke his true powers to save his mother will be going on hold soon, since we've nearly caught up with the author. So now, I need your help picking the next project for the channel. I'm currently deciding between these 3 fanfics.
What if transmigrated into a nightmare mode Dragon Ball world? What if Reborn in Highschool DxD is a Lucifuge?
What if fishing system in Food Wars world?
Please vote in the poll and let me know which story you'd like to see next. I'll take the top pick and start working on that series next.
Also check out my Patreon channel for early releases of all the series, where you can find all the series released one day ahead of YouTube. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, share it with your friends, and please consider supporting the original author as well.
See you in the next one.